Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering something we thought we'd never cover, the Halloween special, Scary Godmother.
And this is thanks to Rascal.
Yes.
Now this animated special was actually based on a series of books by Jill Henderson. And the special has aired every October on Cartoon Network for over 20 years. And neither of us had ever watched it until now, believe it or not.
Yes. And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, click notification bell updates on future podcasts and all the pause video.
And you also notice something different about this podcast. It's actually taking place on a Sunday.
Yes.
So for the first time in Paws On Animation history, this month, every Sunday, there is a podcast for the theme of the month.
Yes. So, for today, Scary Godmother, as we said, it's something that airs every year on Cartoon Network. And it's sort of like their own Peanuts special. That's their annual thing they air alongside Terror Tales of the Park and whatever Halloween movies they are allowed to air on the network. And I've known about this for years, but I never watched it. I don't know. I just was never personally like, oh, I want to see this. I saw it was there, and that was it. I never watched it myself. But lots of people either seen it who have read the books, or people go back to it now because of, like us, they knew that it aired every year, and they just didn't know why. They made actually two of these, and we're covering the first one today. And we wanted to see, was this really so good that they decided we need to air this every year, or was it part of a contract, or what?
Yes. It was really a different type of Spooktober or Halloween animated series.
Yeah.
I've seen nothing like it. So the books probably are really interesting if we ever get a chance to read them. If you've read this series of books, let us know in the comments below. How do you like them? Do you think that this particular animated special kept true to the book itself?
Right.
Let us know. We'd really like to know.
Right. And I can say I hope that it keeps accurate because the creator, Jill Henderson, who did the art and made the books, she's actually in charge of the animated specials and helped write it. So at least we know she has some hand in this and not just for title's sake.
So the main character is Hannah Marie,
yes.
a little girl.
Yes. And she's with her her cousin and her friends on Halloween, and they're trying to get as much candy as they can as possible. You know the drill for trick-or-treaters. And at first it seems fine. They seem like they're kind of weird little kids, but it's just like, okay, they seem really normal. And the story gets started because her cousin Jimmy really doesn't want to babysit her because they're limited on how far they can go and how late it is because of her age. So they were just gonna scare her so badly that she'll want to go home, and then they would take her home and they will go out themselves and have free range. So they were gonna leave her in the haunted house and scare her and then open the door later. But the problem is that they kind of leave her too long, and we're gonna get to that. And she's actually visited by Scary Godmother herself, and I kind of thought she was someone that would haunt kids or something. At first I really had no idea what the story was for the book, but she actually ends up becoming Hannah's friend, and she's a stranger, but she...
That's what they're saying. Didn't you say you not to talk to strangers?
Right, and she tries to cheer her up. She's aware of what they've done to her, so she takes her to her house, I'm not kidding you, and they actually end up having fun. She introduced her to her monster friends, and that's how the little special gets going. It's sort of like maybe introducing you to this world.
Now, Jill Thompson described the work and the character this way. She says, Scary Godmother is like your fairy godmother, but for Halloween. There's really nothing scary about the Scary Godmother. She's fun and macabre, reminiscent of childhood with a little bit of social commentary mixed in.
Okay.
She also stated that the comics are so segregated now, and that she wanted to create something that both young readers and adults could enjoy. So it was a pretty noble attempt at getting something that would go across all ages.
Right.
Like the Screw Up for Artemis Fowl Disney.
Ooh! So for here, the basis of this is only 47 minutes with credits. And basically Hannah is introduced to this world that Scary Mother has, and she has a house where she has a couple roommates that are Halloween based. She has a skeleton named Bones. She's friends with a werewolf named Harry. A vampire family. A monster lives under the bed, which made me think of Monsters Inc. And they show that they're not totally completely scary, except for the vampires who still, have the thing for biting humans, but they know when to rein it in. And the goal was to show Hannah that the monsters that she's supposed to be scared of, they're not really scary. They're just supposed to be doing like Monsters Inc. This is their job to do on Halloween, so they get their job going and have a life. But when they're not doing that, they're very nice people. They have their little issues, but they're nice people, and she learns to not be so scared of them. Which was actually interesting because this was probably around the same time or right after Monsters Inc. So
2004.
Right, and the books were written in 97, so it's definitely possible that Monsters Inc. was inspired by these books to create that whole world full of monsters.
Yes. And it's called the Halloween Spooktakular.
Yes.
Scary Godmother Halloween Spooktakular.
Yes.
So again, it was something that was a niche that was needed for it. It didn't exist.
Yes.
And by creating these films and writing these books, she has left her print
Yes.
on animation.
Yes.
And comics as well.
Yes.
Because there's nothing out here like it when she originally released it, but I'm sure there have been many imitations.
Right
and
now.
probably tributes and so forth to her by now.
Right.
And I think what's interesting is also for the books, she does the cover work and the animation of the drawings inside.
Kind of like a mangaka.
Yes. And so it was fun. I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
I didn't know how it was going to be. I know that it when I saw the thumbnail, it looked strange.
Yeah.
But then once you start watching it, it no longer looks strange. You got used to the animation style.
Right.
And you got used to the characters and the story, and it ended up being a really fun watch.
Yeah, you're right. The animation might be a little weird to look at because back when this was made, this was top of the line. This was them really getting used to it. So there are going to be times where they look a little odd, especially if they don't have eyes or something. They'll just have black dots for eyes, so it could look a little off, but you do adjust to it. And the kids that are the trick-or-treaters, I'm sorry, they're dumb as bricks. They are just really dumb because they leave this girl in there and we don't know how long. Like, the special's only 40-something minutes. You know it's not the next day because it's still nighttime by the end of the special. But it has to be hours because they talk about, they can't stay there too much longer. And they sit and wait there.
Forever.
Right, forever. It takes them until halfway through the special to finally look at them and say, okay, I haven't heard her in a while. Is she okay? We haven't heard her. She hasn't been coming out. Nothing's happening. We should go and look. And they keep trying to break down who's going to go in and check, play rock, paper, scissors, draw straws, dare each other. And it's like, what are you doing? That's your cousin. Go get her. And they just sit there and they wait and they talk. And by the time they actually do something, they say Halloween's almost over. Lights are going off. I'm like, why aren't you home too? Why haven't you done anything? They're just sitting there.
So I think that was probably for the younger readers and viewers that they wouldn't realize it, but adults would get it and go, oh, these kids are dumb. So that's probably part of the tongue-in-cheek part of the writing and this series, or I should say the special itself.
Right.
So now if you've seen Scary Godmother Halloween Spooktakular, let us know in the comments below. Did you see it on Cartoon Network or have you seen it like we did on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you've read the books, let us know what you think in the comments. If you haven't seen it, this is the perfect month to do it. Get on YouTube, give it a watch. You really will enjoy it.
Right. And one thing to mention, there is a second one we're going to be covering next time as well. And so if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, weekly videos, and your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
That's Scary Godmother, The Revenge of Jimmy.
Oh boy,
And I
scared.
think Jimmy Neutron.
Right. So thank you so much for watching Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a tune-tastic day.
Peace.